I'm Roy Potter, a former U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. Welcome to the Potter Expositor. Hi ladies and gentlemen, it's the wee morning hours of April 7th, 2017. On April 5th, I was very concerned about a number of things that I was looking at, taking stock of real events, not promises made in hot air. And I just had to realize that despite hopes and prayers, honestly, that the circumstances and the evidence just could not back up what I was wanting to see. So I made a video which probably a lot of you have seen now, called Rein It In. And I won't go over what I said in that. You can go back and look at it if you like. I'm pretty tired. I've been up for hours now, keeping track of what's going on in Syria. And frankly, it goes against everything that we were told the United States would now stand for. And we're going to hear all kinds of justifications, whether it be propaganda or true, about why this was done. As a matter of fact, one of them tonight was that the only thing we hit were airstrips. Well, at a conservative amount, and I know they're more than this, but at a conservative amount of $2 million per missile, if we shot 50 of them, which is what I've heard, and of course you never know, but that's $100 million, really. And of course that's a conservative figure. And for what? What military objective? As a show of force? Ladies and gentlemen, Obama and his regime and the Bushes and all of that, they were evil. Honestly, they were. They created ISIS. They create their enemies so that they have a reason to have a war machine in the future and to keep chaos going and all of those horrible things. And you know, I'm so disgusted tonight. I really didn't even want to make a video, but I felt like it was my responsibility to do so. So they were evil. What we're seeing now is buffoonery. And it's deliberate. It's being done by the MIC, the military-industrial complex, the deep state. And I don't know why Trump brought these neocons in there to make a fool out of him. But they've done it, and superbly they have done it. The promise was, of course, that we would not get involved in regime change around the world, etc., etc. We would mind our own business here at home. Yeah, we'd fight ISIS. Okay, fine. Yeah, well, why didn't we do that? You know, why didn't we take out a convoy of ISIS or something like that? No, that's not what we're going to do, because we're going to believe some CIA bullshit about the Syrians using gas. And even if that were true, think about the repercussions of this. That $100 million, which is extremely conservative on the missiles that we supposedly used, think what we could have done with that. We could have fired off half the bureaucracies in the United States and done something good for our people, and taken the enemies in our bureaucracies, in our agencies here in this country that are sucking the lifeblood and the liberty of the American people away from them, and paid those people for their leave of absence. The war that we have to win is here at home. It is restoring the American constitutional republic and getting the American government off the backs of the American people with their threats for doing basic human activity. And that's what we thought we were getting. No. The aphrodisiac of being involved in foreign affairs, foreign policy, being a world superpower, and in wielding the powers of death and destruction, that becomes what is desired above all else. And President Trump has betrayed us for that aphrodisiac. When President Trump gets his own house in order, and I mean his own house, considering what's happened over the last few days, and then the executive branch, and then the legislature and the courts, then maybe we can start talking about making sure that the rest of the world is pulling its weight and doing the right thing. We would be attacking, look at this, supposedly, and I'm not saying they did it, supposedly the Syrians used gas on their own people. What about Waco, President Trump? What about Bundy Ranch, President Trump? What about the Hammonds in Oregon, President Trump? This was not a national security threat in Syria. And there is no way, oh, you can bend it, you can turn it, you can do all sorts of things to try to justify it, but we know better. So, well, I could keep going. I think my point is again made. The American people are enslaved to the New World Order, President Trump. They are victims of the New World Order and its use of China, as I said in the last video, taking our land and our resources. And then because the federal government and the local governments, the state governments won't stand up to it, American citizens, American patriots finally stand up and said, we've had enough. And then they are punished by your DOJ, FBI, and court system for doing so because you refuse to do it. That's what's happening here. And yet you want the big shot status of doing foreign affairs and foreign policy and to be a war president like Bush and Obama. Shame on you. Shame on you. Ladies and gentlemen, I've done this for a number of years, and you know, I quit once before. I don't know, what was it, 2011, I said I'd had enough. I don't think it's going to matter anymore. All men, when they get it, a little authority, as they suppose, they almost immediately begin to use it in unrighteous ways, presuming that they are something, when they are nothing but the dirt of the field. I don't care if you're a billionaire, a trillionaire, or the President of the United States, you act like this and you're the dirt of the field. And I don't think what we're doing here, objecting to what these people do, is helping. From what I can tell, we need to get out of the way and let them destroy each other and try to avoid it the best we can, because they're hell-bent on doing it and pretending like they're doing it to protect us, when in fact it's to protect them. And they're going to end up destroying everything in the process. So, you know, I was going to spout some scripture tonight, but you know what? I'm just speaking frankly. Get yourselves ready and try to take care of yourselves and forget about trying to do anything for this God-forsaken nation because it's really not worth it. You know, when Trump started to wave the LGBT flag around like that was something important, I mean, that was not, to me, a whole lot different than when Obama lit up the White House in the LGBT rainbow colors. Yeah, they steal the rainbow, one of the most sacred, beautiful symbols, and put it for those debauched people. Oh, we've got to be diverse. We've got to accept them. We've got to be understanding. Isn't it interesting that we always have to be understanding, but nobody has to understand us? Oh, Americans have to accept diversity, but Saudi Arabia doesn't, Japan doesn't, China doesn't, Israel doesn't, but we do. Isn't that just horse shit? Anyway. So I don't trust Trump any longer. He ran up the white flag without even firing a shot to try to keep these people at bay. He stacked his cabinet and his advisors with neocons. Poor Bannon, he must be pulling what hair he has out. So, like I say, it's early morning hours. I just wanted to get a little of this off my chest. I'll try to be a little more specific in the next video, if I even make one. Frankly, I think we all just need to gather around the people that we can trust and hunker down and get ready, because these assholes are going to destroy everything. And Trump is a lying deceiver, or he's stupid and a buffoon. He may be good at real estate and making money and building, but he's an idiot savant at that. Nothing else.